Good evening. Good evening, everybody who's going to catch us on our Facebook page, on Carl Armstrong's Facebook page, also on my YouTube channel, Carl's Conversations. This is definitely a Carl conversation. So, here with my beautiful wife, Tisha, and we just wanted to come forth this evening and have a conversation about some current events. Where do we go from here? For those of you who don't know, Tisha and I are very active members of the movement. We do not belong to the Black Lives Matter organization, but we are definitely part of the current movement to fight for social justice and racial equality in a lot of different areas. And we do that unashamedly. And we don't do that, to exclude anyone or to count anyone out, to discredit anyone. But we're standing up uh, for us. We have lived through some of the craziness, and we want to do our part to make sure that our children and our grandchildren have a little better time at their life. And so we become very active. Uh, I wanted to hit on a few things today, and I want to start with this. No matter what side of this thing you own, I want to know if you're thinking about how history will judge not only this era in our history, but how will history judge you and your position? How will God judge you? I'm very conscious that I'm a child of God, and the day will come when I must face judgment. And I do my best to live my life so that on judgment day, I can hear, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." I want to see heaven, and I don't want to just get a peek and had to go somewhere else. I want to rest in heaven after my time here is finished. And be honest with you, with some of the craziness that I see, I really wonder if people are thinking about judgment. I wonder if people are aware that God is watching and our name is written in the book. Some things I see and I hear, I wonder. Uh, it is confusion for me to think that I can say that I love God, but I hate what He created. I'm talking about mankind. I hate a certain race, or I don't care about a certain race or certain group. I don't see that. Evidently, there are those who don't have a problem with that, and that's that. But I wonder about that, and how what we're doing here will be read about in history books for the next generation, just like my generation read about what my parents' generation did during the civil rights movement and what happened to them that spurned the civil rights movement. We're in a huge movement right now, and I'm wondering how history will judge us. I think we've learned a lesson because the American history that we learned in school, um, we didn't get a lot of truth, watered down, and we're now a lot of people are learning the truth. White, black, Latino, there's a lot of people that are learning the truth about our country. And I'm not a USA hater, but I'm a realist. And there are some parts of our history that are not very clean, some parts of our history that are not very pristine, as people would make it think. We have to come to grips with our history. So I wonder about that. And I also wonder how many people know that at this time we have an opportunity to make significant change when it comes to social injustices. We have a chance to make it right. When it comes to racial inequality, we have a very good chance to make it right. And I'm wondering, do people really, really see, really understand what a crucial time in history this is? And I have very strong political feelings, but that's not what drives me in this. What drives me in this is a very serious consideration for right and wrong. You know, so for me, I'm almost like apolitical. I don't belong to either one of the parties, and I don't paint myself into the liberal corner or to the conservative corner or to the moderate corner. I don't label myself. You know, I'm just a citizen who is involved and who's paying attention. And when it comes to candidates, I vote for a candidate, not for a party and not for an ideology. So that's why I come to this. But no matter where you fall on this, we can make significant change. And I want us to really be thinking about that. Hello, Ira. Hello, Lucy. Thank y'all for watching. Um, I want to make significant change. I want to be a part of the change. One thing that I was taught in the military, and I have taught it ever since, you oftentimes are the change that you want to see. When you come into an organization or to anything and things are not right, don't be the person that turn around and you got so much to say outside of the room, but inside of the room you're quiet. No, you're the change that you want to see. So speak up, get involved, and help push the change.
Mhm.
You know, what you think about that, sweetie?
I would agree with that 110%. I think both of us were raised with the mindset of you treat people how you want for people to treat you, and you teach people how to treat you. And unfortunately, um, because we have brown skin, we've been looked at in a different way. We are presumed to be guilty until proven innocent, or that we are a threat or we look threatening. And it's time for that to change. Judge me on the content of my character, not the color of my skin.
That's right. And I want to say something here. Some of the stuff that I see on social media and some of the things that I hear in conversation, you know, people behave like police brutality and police corruption are something new in this country. Do you read? Do you are you paying attention? American history is littered with the uprising of the citizens against police corruption and police brutality. You know that this is not a new thing, and so that's the loudest thing that the movement is saying. The loudest voice. I mean, there are a lot of different things that are being said, but the loudest call is for police reform because of the brutality and the killings of Black Americans. The data says that Black Americans are being killed by police 3 times the rate of our white citizens. Our white citizens are able to survive encounters with the police that Black people are not surviving. Now, that's not me hating my country or hating the police. Those are facts. Those are data driven facts. The fact that the movement is pushing for police reform does not mean that the movement is anti police. It doesn't mean that we're anti American. It means that we're saying that the status quo, the way things are, is not working well for us. And we are saying enough is enough.
Mhm.
There has to be change in the way that we police here in this nation. There has to be a national conversation. And I'm gonna tell you what I'm seeing over the weekend the Back the Blue movement. There have been some demonstrations, some protests. I tell you, I'm not liking that too much. I think the Back the Blue is pitting uh, police against the current movement, and that's not what it should be. We should be working with our
Working
political leaders,
together
yeah, working together with our political
to
leaders and our police.
address the issues. I think all parties need to be heard. Again, not saying that we're not for the police, it's making sure that the police are doing what it is, what they're supposed to be doing effectively, properly. Again, it's supposed to be judge and jury, not the police being the judge and the jury. And also, I think it would be in the best interest of everyone if we could just simply come together and all parties are heard, that being Black Lives Matter and the police, to have an understanding, or have those conversations that may be difficult conversations, to get an understanding, to have people that look like me to say, do you know what it is to walk in my shoes every day? At the same time, as a police officer, you see more bad than what most of us see. And sometimes you can become jaded, but that does not mean because you see me, you automatically assume that I am the worst, or I've committed some crime. You know, give me the benefit of the doubt. And even by anybody can have a moment where you're not at your best, but that shouldn't be a reason that your family does not see you or they have to bury you. You know, so I think it's just really addressing the issues that are at hand. Again, everyone should be treated fairly, and then to have a conversation that how is it that um my white counterparts can go and shoot up a church, and you can stop them to Burger King and give them something to drink and something to eat. And you have a gentleman that is in the drive through at Wendy's now, you know, he's not here. So how can those scenarios be so different? You know, yeah, they're two different scenarios, but the outcome is real different.
That's why we're marching. And you look at the incident that happened in Wilmington, North Carolina. For those of you who don't know, please go research. I can't tell the whole story here, but there were three police officers who were caught on, I think, their dash cam was activated, and they didn't know a dash cam and their body cam was activated. And a supervisor was going through the video and the audio and listening. And I mean, the way they talked about a black woman who was arrested, saying she needed a bullet in her head, used the N word, and one cop, he was talking about the movement and how this thing was going to start a civil war, and how God, he just couldn't wait because he was going to go buy a new assault rifle. And when the civil war started, he was just going to come mowing niggers down, mowing effing niggers down. This is a uniformed police officer. There were three who were involved in different parts of the conversation. And once again, that's no surprise to us. We've been saying this for years, that there were police like that, and that those police were treating us unfairly. And when I read, because the documents, the letters that were written to terminate those fellows, that stuff has been publicized. And they made the statements. First of all, when their lawyers are fighting to keep this stuff under wraps, but they were stating that even though they said that because they were stressed out, but everybody that they stop, they treat fairly. I just don't believe that. I don't believe when you have that kind of stuff in your heart that you're going to treat people fairly. I don't believe that. And I think that that drives some of the police action that we see, some of the aggression, some of the brutality, some of the violence. And I have respect for police officers. I have respect for law enforcement,
Mhm.
but I have a disagreement. We keep hearing that there's only a few bad ones. I disagree. I think there's more than a few. I do believe that the majority of our police officers are
Are
good
good.
people,
Mhm.
and I think that they try to do a good job. I really believe that.
And it's really sad that when you have the officers out here that are doing a good job upholding the law, doing what it is they're supposed to be doing, and you have those others that basically, because of their action, they put all police officers in the same group, in the same category. And it's a very unfortunate thing. If you're a great police officer, it's great. Um, but the sad part, it puts division amongst people. Um, you should be able to trust the people that are supposed to serve and protect you. Unfortunately, there is a very big distrust. You know, we just have to do better. Period.
Got to do better. And let me say this, I'm gonna get back to that back the blue. If I thought, Monica said the bad ones are given a pass, Monica, you're right. You're exactly right. And we believe, and this has been said by some police officers. There are videos all over the internet about police officers telling you about the pressure from the inside. We want them to tell on each other, but quite often they are disciplined for that.
Yeah, I
You,
just read an article the other day where it was saying, they had given examples of police officers that, said this is what's going on, or this particular officer is doing this, or this police officer raped these individuals. And, you know, you have a police officer that I believe was in Buffalo, New York. Um, Carol, she lost her pension. I believe her name is
right, yeah, that was Buffalo.
she lost her pension because this police officer was doing something that he shouldn't have been doing, and she brought it to the attention of the individuals, and she basically got reprimanded and lost her pension. And here you have people that have a knee on someone's neck and broad daylight, hands in their pocket, looking into the camera like ready, set, go. And there has to be accountability. If you
Mhm.
are going to protect and serve, it should always be done in decency and order. And if I think background checks and all those things need to be done to see, if you are a fit for it. You need to make sure that you have the proper training and all of these things, um, to make sure that you're doing it the correct way. And again, um, be accountability as far as the police officer and the people. You know,
Yeah, that's
who's
right.
going to police the police when they aren't doing what it is that they're supposed to be doing, and to hold them accountable? It's great that we have the good police officers out here, but for the ones that are not, we have to implement some type of rules, laws to hold those individuals accountable. Because if not, we'll be here again. And hopefully, and we have to get past a T-shirt with a family member's picture on it and a hashtag. We have to get past this. I don't think we can handle any more killings. It's just a sad and unfortunate thing.
Yeah, that's why we're marching. We're marching for accountability. And I'm gonna say this again. That what is that? Back the blue. I believe that's a place for anti BLM and racists to hide out to rally against the movement. And I think that's unfortunate. Now there are voices in the Black Lives Matter organization that I disagree with. I disagree with the abolishment of policing, of police forces. That term defund the police, I think, is a confusing term. I don't want to take all the money away, but yeah, some of the money that's budgeted to police for some of that military weaponry, oh yes, that can absolutely be used to reinvent law enforcement. I believe that, but I don't want to see the powers that be. You got to watch people. You got to watch the person always pulling their firearm. Watch the person always pointing to tell you who your enemy should be. And I think a lot of that is going on inside of the movement, and is also going on with this back the blue. People like my wife and I, who are part of the movement, we are not anti-police. Matter of fact, all of the people that there's three organizations that we work with here in the Stafford Fredericksburg area. I've heard no one who is anti-police. We anti-police brutality.
Yeah.
We anti-police corruption. We anti-police violence. We anti-police killing black folks. Of course we are, but we're not anti-police. And but let me tell you this: there have always been opposition to positive change. I can't
Opposition to change, period.
opposition to change. Period. I can't remember which races it was. My man Red, good to see you, Red. I can't remember which racist politician it was down in the South who made that famous rant, segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. You know, there's always been opposition to positive change. But this is why I mentioned when we first came on about, do people know that God is watching? Do people know that history is writing a story about us? Do you want to be the one that stood in the way of social justice and racial equality? You have to be a person with your head in the sand to not see what's happening here. The foundations and the institutions of our country were built on a racist theory. Our founding documents are littered with it. And many of the founding documents of the Confederacy are littered with it. That's why I have such a problem with the Confederate flag and those Confederate monuments. I don't want to see that on public land. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, me personally, my issue is if you go back and look into the Constitution, we as Black folk, we are 3/5 of a person, so we're not even considered a whole person. We were considered property, and that has been since the beginning of time. And I think therein lies the problem because you were considered property, not even considered as a whole person. So everyone kind of takes on like, oh, you're my maid, you're my butler, you're my wet nurse. You know, you the person that I can see in the middle of the night. Back in the day, we've moved past that, or we should have moved past that. Yeah, that may have been what it was back then, but we need to come up and talking about history and the different statues and things. And I understand that that can be somebody's history, but if we're going to talk about history, let's talk about all of the history, including the dirty, nasty truth about it. You know, don't try to make it pretty, and don't put lipstick on the pig. Let's address all of the issues and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that can be established and we can move forward. You know, because in order to know where you're going to go, you need to know what your past is. You know, if not, history repeats itself and you'll be making the same mistakes and you've gotten nowhere.
That's right. So the thing we really want to talk about, and we worked our way to it, where are we going from here? And we have been in the streets. We have garnered national and international attention and support. People everywhere are speaking out against racial and social injustice and mistreatment. It is all over. And there are those who are donating big money to the cause to make sure that we're able to do what is good and right. So I'm going to speak from the viewpoint of the organizations that Tisha and I belong to here in the Stafford Fredericksburg area. We are getting involved in civic and political engagement. We have, matter of fact, we just got off of a call 10 minutes before we jumped on the air here. And tonight's call was about voter registration and voter education. So we are moving. We're moving in the streets, but we're also moving in front of policymakers and lawmakers. We will be very active with the Stafford County Board of Supervisors. We'll be very active in the city of Fredericksburg and in Spotsylvania County with the police departments, with the sheriff's departments, with the school board. We're going to have some say. We're going to be at those public meetings speaking on behalf of our community to say, hey, listen, these are the issues that are important to us, and this is the change that we want to see. And we're going to hold them accountable. They're going to know who we, matter of fact, they already know who we are. You'd be surprised to know who we know and who is very supportive. And let me tell you something, our groups have made great strides with the Stafford Sheriff's Department. You know, they've been a wonderful partner in this. And you also be surprised how many, sorry about that, y'all, I'm moving the dog on camera. You also be surprised how many law enforcement officers are really supportive of what we're doing. I'm not talking about the nuts out there tearing up everything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who are peaceful protesters and are talking about the injustices that are very loud and very clear. So when you do it like that, you can get some results. But I want to say, and I want to make this very clear, two things going on with the riots and stuff that you have seen, because you don't see too much of that now. Number one, I understand and I identify with the rage that makes you want to burn stuff up and test stuff up. I know. She said it's not what you know what always good. Yeah, yeah, who you know. Um, I'm identifying with the rage that will make you want to go test stuff up. Because to be quite honest with you, the first couple of weeks after Mr. Floyd was killed, I sat down. I had that kind of rage, and I was ready to test some stuff up. I'm so glad that I didn't. I understand the rage. But then you got to also understand there were people and organizations who hid behind the movement and came in there with the intentions of turning things out. Mm-hmm. And I know people keep calling the name Antifa. Antifa wasn't the only ones there. You had some off-duty police officers who belonged to some of these radical white supremacist groups. Oh, we know you were there. You were there too. That's been proven. This is not what Carl says. Go do the research. It's been proven. There were many groups who got in and infiltrated the movement, which was peaceful, and started a whole bunch of mess. And now you got those who are opponents of the movement. You know, people see what they want to see. You want to group all of that together because that's what you want to do because you are against the movement. I'm from the inside telling you that the vast majority of us don't have that mess in our intentions. We hit the streets to bring attention to what is going on. So where we're going from here, civic engagement, political engagement, voter registration, voter education. That's what we're going for here. Engaging our youth. Because these young people, I'm talking about these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they are together, they are powerful, and we're going to help them with their voice. They are speaking out, they are very organized, and they're very energetic. You would be proud if you get involved. If you get involved, you'll be proud of what you see. Now, it's going to be bad apples in every barrel. So that's that. Hello, Xavier. How you doing, son? That's my godson, Xavier. He's in here. He's listening today. And so understand there's a lot of positive stuff going on. What you think about that, sweetie? I would agree. All right. We thank y'all so much who are here and chiming in. And Valeria, I agree with you that we need to improve our education system. I have a brother who we know from Germany. He's in Missouri working on that very thing from his side. We're doing some things right here with the Stafford School Board to be involved, and we've already made positive contact with the school board superintendent here in Stafford County, who is very aware of what we're doing and is willing to work with us. That's a positive thing. Mm-hmm. So this is where you're going to make the change. Yes, we see a national and an international rally and a cry for justice, and that is great. But we want to make sure that you're paying attention and you're involved in what's going on in your local area. You need to be involved. If you got a city government with your city council and your mayor and your police department, you need to be involved. You need to establish contacts. You need to rally together whatever group you're involved in, because most people don't know the Black Lives Matter movement is really a conglomeration of a bunch of grassroots organizations, just like the ones that we belong to. You know, you need to get together in those groups and you need to approach your city council, your county board of supervisors, your sheriff's department, your police department, your school board, all those different entities. They need to know who you are and you need to know who they are. This is how we start change on the local level. Get to know who your state delegates are and your state senators. Contact them. They work for you. You don't work for them. They work for you. You have a voice. And once they see that you're together and they see your numbers, they are going to work with you. That's what's happening here. They see our numbers. There is my old boss in the army, Anthony Alford. Thank you, sir. And we salute you too. Um, when they see that you're organized and that you have sustained presence, they're going to listen. Look at what's happening. It took forever, it seemed like, to move the nation to be able to have the conversations that we're having now. But because we hit those streets, and we've been hitting those streets ever since Mr. Floyd died, and we're still in the streets. And not only that, that's why I'm making this video, where we're going from here. It has spread from the streets to the courthouses,
and into action.
into action at City Hall, at the school boards. There's a lot going on.
And yeah, I think we must remain vigilant. You can't just be yeah, and die off. It has to be consistency. Because if you don't have consistency, to others it may seem, oh, it was important in the beginning, and now that has changed. You have to be consistent and remain steadfast,
That's right.
and show your face.
Get involved and take somebody with you, whether it be a neighbor or a friend, your children. Our children are involved. They're doing it their way, but they're involved. And let me say it again, I absolutely salute our white brothers and sisters who stand with us. Let me tell you something, this wouldn't get done without their help and support. It had to be more than just us to stand up to the establishment to say enough is enough and there must be change. And you got a lot of our white counterparts who catching hell right now because they are being ostracized in their families and in their circles because they're speaking against the hatred that they hear. Some of these people come from that type of teaching, but they know better. And some of these of our white counterparts, they have, interracial children and grandchildren.
Yeah, and I would say, to add to that, we as a people, black and brown people, we want for people to give us the benefit of the doubt. Don't be so quick to judge me. And I think we have to do the same. Yeah, there's been some distrust, but we can't lump everybody together. We have to judge, our white brothers and sisters based off of what it is that they do as well, because we need their help. And at this point, we have all been affected. I don't care what anybody says. When Mr. George Floyd yelled for his mother, I don't care who you are on the face of this earth, as a mother that struck a chord, and that is mothers against the world, regardless of what you look like. All mothers heard that cry of that man, and we all watched the video. So everyone has been impacted, because as a mother, you can imagine if that was your child, if that was your husband, your brother, one of your family members. Everybody has been impacted, and it is definitely time for a change. So we have to continue to work together, um, to make the change that and be the change that we want to see and to be.
That's right. We have to be that change. Once again, I want to remind us history is being written as we carry on through this movement. And before the movement, during the movement, after the movement, all of us are accountable to God. God is watching. And I want you to know I'm praying for this thing. I'm even praying for racists, because that's a terrible trap to be in, to where you're so twisted that you hate an entire group of people, an entire race of people who have done nothing to you. You know, I believe that a lot of that hatred is based on ignorance and tradition and very bad teaching. Um, just a terrible thing. So we're glad that you have spent some time with us. We're going somewhere. We're not just in the streets. We are moving for positive change. And there are a lot of people who are moving with us and helping us to move mountains. Um, I want to say again, we are not anti-police. We are not anti-law enforcement. that narrative is being painted. And I will admit there are some voices in the movement, but those are every group having extremists. Abolishment of police, we are not with it. Being nasty and disrespectful to law enforcement, I am not with it. I'm not with it. But we also got to be with law enforcement not being nasty and disrespectful to us. And it's time for a change. And the change has to start with the training and even how you handle calls. There is so much involved in that. So I hope that we were able to help somebody who may not understand what this thing is all about. We're not just trying to preach to the choir. We're trying to get this information out so that those who may not understand or may disagree, and don't think that we have a problem with dissenting voices. Those who dissent, you're more than welcome to be part of the conversation. I only ask that you be respectful. That's the only thing I ask, because I think that our presentation has been respectful. And even those who have commented today have been respectful, right? So that's the only thing we ask, be respectful. So thank you. I hope this has been an encouragement to those who are in the fight. We do encourage you to continue in the fight. Don't get weary. We've made great strides, but we have so much further to go. For those of you who have not been involved yet, we encourage you to get involved. If you don't know how to get involved, contact us. We'll tell you. There's a lot going on locally where you live. There's a lot going on in your state, and there's a lot going on the national and international platforms. So please get involved. And let me say something to you. I can't leave without talking about the coronavirus. I think that we fell asleep in our country. We see all over the news that the coronavirus has become a crisis level in certain places. We know that California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, I believe North Carolina, South Carolina, and there are probably a few states that I'm missing are there at crisis level right now, and that's unfortunate. And so we got to get back to the basics, and that is hand washing, all kind of hygiene, wearing masks, wearing a face mask. You know, that has become so politicized, and I just don't understand it. When our leading epidemiologists and doctors are telling us that it aids in the prevention, of course, it's not 100%. We know it's not 100%, but any percent that my chance can be cut that I will be infected or infect somebody else, because I could be infected and not know it because so many people are asymptomatic. It is a considerate thing to do for your family, for your neighbors, for your community when you go out somewhere to wear the face mask. It is a matter of consideration, not a matter of politics. It is not a sign of weakness that you wear a face mask. It is no more a sign of weakness that you wear a face mask than that you wear a seatbelt. Yeah, I've heard people say, we're free and nobody's it's a violation of your civil liberties. You wear that seatbelt, don't you? You buckle your children up. I bet you lock that door when you go in your house at night. You do that because it is an easy safety measure. It's easy prevention against something bad happening to you. So we encourage you to wear your face mask when you're out. We encourage you to continue with your personal hygiene, those things that help us not to spread. Please wash your hands often. Please wash your surfaces often. Please do what's right. Please continue with social distancing. It's not good to be in a crowd of people if you don't have to be. All right. So please watch that. This is not a political stance. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, you slice it right down the middle. This virus will infect you and it will infect those that you love. And if you have anybody in your circle that is high risk, any of the autoimmune diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart conditions, going through chemotherapy, going through dialysis, obesity, aged persons, hey man, these people are high risk and are not faring well with this virus. So be considerate, please. So listen, we thank you. Tisha and I thank you from the bottom of our heart for listening. Please do us a favor, share this video, like it and share it. Of course, those of you who are watching from our Facebook page, my Facebook page, thank you. And you can also catch this on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Carl's Conversations, and I have several of the videos that I've made and the interviews that I've done. I've also broadcasted that channel, so you can catch it there. When you get a chance, please go to Carl's Conversation on YouTube, like and follow. You can also follow my Facebook page, so you'll know when we come on and do these live videos. We thank all of you for giving us your time and attention. Please like and share. We need to spread the word. And listen, if you guys want to be part of a panel, these panels that I put together and I do these interviews so we can talk about these issues, hit me up. I got a cousin, Rashad. He's in the shoot. The first panel that I do, he's going to be a part of it. If you want to be part of a panel, let me know. We'll hook it up. We'll do these virtual type interviews that you've seen me do. All right.
And what I would like to add is if we want to spread something, let it be love.
That's right. Let's spread some love. And let's pray for each other, y'all. Prayer works. Prayer works. We want peace. We don't want war. We want peace. But I think that it's fair to admit the price that we've been paying for peace is a little too high. And part of this demonstration is to renegotiate the price for peace in this nation. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right. So until next time, we thank y'all. We say good evening to you. Be safe. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Good evening.